Welcome back to the Short Code Podcast on YouTube. I would like to remind our glorious watchers on YouTube that we also have an audio podcast you can find at theshortcode.com. Feel free to stop by and give us a listen. Thank you for coughing.
You're welcome.
You know.
It was for the audio.
Yes, thank you. This week we're going to play a game called True Science, in which one of us will try to guess which of a given set of science stories is true and which were made up by my fertile imagination. Fertile imagination. This week's victim is Mark Terrell. I'm also joined by Casey McCleary and Dylan Todd and Korbin.
You can't.
You got it.
So close.
Korbin Weaver.
So close.
So Dylan will have to distinguish the true science story from the ones I made
No,
up.
you said Mark.
I mean, Mark will have to. God.
Falling apart, Dave.
I can't even handle this.
We'll start with Casey's, the one I've handed to Casey.
All right. This week, Reese Alfonsi, I don't know, PhD of Manitoba University Medical School, announced her findings that the smells of wet dog hair and flatulence have something in common. They have a measurable positive effect on sexual receptivity in young adult human males. Maybe you can use your own experience to establish whether this is true. More than 200 men were exposed to these odors, and 83% showed a marked increase in desire and were overall 1.5 times more successful than the control group at picking up women within an hour of exposure. The effect disappears after an hour and has little effect on men above the age of about 34 years old.
Sadly, these could all be real.
Next, we have Dylan Todd.
Okay, researchers at the NIH announced recently their study that suggests risk-adverse medical students become poor decision makers as doctors when it comes to matters of life or death, relative to their peers who are less careful about their decisions. Students who take lots of time to weigh various courses of action so they can choose the least risky option, even when considering non-science matters, will have higher mortality rates among their patients when they become doctors than their less cerebral peers, according to Medicare data. Dr. Miles Brandeis, a clinical researcher at NIH, says that this info may help students understand which medical specialties may be the best fit for them in their careers.
Are you risk averse, do you think?
Very.
You're very risk averse?
Very.
What about you, Mark Terrell?
No.
You're not risk averse?
He just goes for it.
You're just going to make it happen?
Yeah.
What about you, Casey?
I'd say a little bit. I don't know. I like to be spontaneous on occasion.
I'm probably.
But yeah, I think I'm a
Less-
little risk averse. I'm a little
less
loss averse
risk-averse than
too.
me.
I don't like to lose things or miss out on things.
I only choose
That's my
the
big
most
problem.
secure
FOMO.
CDs when investing my money.
T-bills, stuff like that. All right. Well, then we have Korbin Weaver.
Creationists and believers in intelligent design often say that what science thinks are vestigial organs are really a part of the creator's grand plan and thus must have a purpose. Like the appendix, which was once considered useless by scientists but has been found to act as a reservoir for beneficial microbiota during illness. But according to Stephen Hackley, a psychologist at the University of Missouri, the muscles around the human ear are proof that this theory is crap. Although they can wiggle the ears a tiny amount and may once have allowed us to aim our ears at sounds to pick them up better, they no longer have a real purpose and so are proof that creationists have it all wrong. The human body wasn't designed to be an all-knowing being with a purpose for each design decision.
And I will end with mine. Toilet seats may not be a major vector for the transmission of infectious diseases, but a recent study from UCLA shows that they are still bad for your health. Specifically, the plastic they're usually made from, polyvinyl chloride, or PVC, may slowly leach into the skin of the buttocks and contribute to cancers there. It is not known yet what the exact chemicals are, but Ravi Gupta, PhD and leader of the study, says it's probably a result of the gradual breakdown of PVC as it ages. The effect is greater, he says, for those who spend more time on the toilet, such as when reading or in the case of the chronically constipated.
See, if my parents had told me that as a child when I would always read in the bathroom for extended amounts of time, that might have That might have changed my behavior a little bit.
glad
More
we-
than just making fun of me for it.
I'm glad we had this talk.
I'm glad the internet knows this.
Does this behavior persist?
No.
No. Okay. You got to get it
I
done.
just got over it.
Okay.
I have better places to read now. The bathroom was really warm as a child. It was the only interior room, so it was super warm.
This is your fond childhood memory. I'm so sorry. So sorry you didn't have anything better to pull from.
You guys, this is going on the internet. Stop probing me. I have no filter.
Well, that's why we're doing it.
Can we all have a vote?
Well, let's discuss which we think. I mean,
So only
'cause it's
one
not like
of
any of
these
these guys know.
Only one is the
one
true.
of these is a true
An actual
study, and the other is just
an
completely
actual
made
science
up.
story.
The others you just created, like you didn't read anywhere.
No.
Oh, so it's one of them is true, not one of them
I mean,
is false.
what I found in trying to create these is that sometimes the ridiculous thing that I came up with was actually true.
Oh.
So I don't know. For instance, I was firmly convinced that I've heard that the human skin is the largest organ of the body, and so when I went to look it up in terms of surface area, of course that's not true. It's the large intestine is like so much bigger in terms of surface area. In terms of interior surface area.
Oh, interior.
So
All that rugae.
it's like 2,700 square meters or something like that, as compared to like 1.2 or 2 square meters for human skin. So, what do we think?
I think Dylan's is true.
Which one was that? That was the.
No, I think Dylan's is bait.
So wait, that was the risk averse one.
Yeah.
I
Then what was
agree
yours?
that it sounds like bait.
Mine was the creationists.
I mean, I don't know why we're still fighting about that, but okay.
I think that this is not a good enough reason.
Yeah.
Like the
That's not even like the strongest
muscles.
argument on either side. Like,
Yeah.
It's just like not even something that should be being talked
also,
about.
Yeah.
Like, talk
what-
about genetic evidence and other things that are more related to evolution.
Have you heard the banana banana video?
The
Also,
banana
Oh
video?
yeah, I've seen that.
It's
yeah.
so good. It's this guy who's
I
like,
think that's
banana
something we
fits
shouldn't talk
perfectly
about.
in your hand, therefore
Also, it doesn't argue its.
creation.
This
Therefore
one doesn't argue
creationism.
its point. It doesn't argue its point because it talks about
Meanwhile, Dave's
now
like,
it doesn't.
Uh,
Now it doesn't do anything.
okay, so that one's Dave.
Okay.
What?
Just kidding.
Pretty sure mine is Dave.
I think the toilet seat one might be true. I don't know if it's like actually true. I think it might be a study that someone did and thinks that they're onto something and probably.
Yeah.
Should we suggest this to Aline for her MSTP?
No,
no.
absolutely not. Have her do something
Sounds like a-
worthwhile.
You know,
That sounds like a shitty project.
I don't think Casey's is true, but I did actually hear of a study that people, when they're like sexually aroused, become less adverse to gross things. So like, because their argument was like the idea is that like
That explains quite
the
a bit.
idea that like sex is gross, and so like when you think about it like it objectively, it's pretty gross.
Okay, it's a little gross.
And then
But when you think about it
But,
really,
like-
really objectively, no, it's not.
but so what they like got people like they aroused them, I guess, and then yeah, they showed them gross things like like vomit and stuff like that, and they were less grossed out by it.
I'm stuck on how the scientists arouse them. Were they just
I
like,
think probably porn.
Come on, scientists can arouse people.
no, sweetie?
They tickled them, tickled the subjects until they.
I'm aroused. I'm aroused.
This is gonna get
Stop!
Yeah, it's not as gross. I don't know.
So,
Maybe it's when they're distracted.
would you care to commit to one of these choices? We have toilet
Yeah, I'm
seats
gonna
being.
commit to the toilet seat.
You're going to commit to the toilet seat?
Yeah.
All right. Well, it turns out that the story that I read that's true involves the ears.
Ah.
Oh,
And
interesting.
so I tried to take a so basically this guy has decided that yes, thank you. Great. Basically, this guy has decided that that since the muscles around the ear don't actually do anything important, that it is in fact proof that creationism is wrong.
It
which
doesn't even
This
prove
is a
anything.
terrible
This is like
argument.
child
This guy.
sandbox science.
This is a
very
terrible
odd-
argument.
very odd thing to concentrate on, actually.
Oh, yeah, well, you're
Not
wrong.
that I don't
But you're
agree
wrong.
with him,
Yeah,
but
you're
like,
wrong.
it's a terrible argument. It's terrible.
It
What
doesn't
would be
say
a better
any-
argument? It would be like genetics or something that you said.
Against creationism. Well, it
Genetics
would
or-
just be all the evolution,
just, like,
the evidence of
science.
evolution.
You
No,
don't
but
need to
that's
prove.
Science.
Like stronger
You don't need to
evidence
prove
than
that a
vestigial
muscle.
organs.
I mean, he doesn't know why a muscle could have been important in the past, for one thing. But also, like, yeah, you don't need. It's a terrible argument. It doesn't even prove anything.
See, now when we
A
find a
funnier
purpose
argument,
for those, it's going to
a
fall
better
apart.
argument I heard was what Neil deGrasse Tyson likes to say, where he says that if it was really intelligently designed, we wouldn't breathe and eat through the same hole so that we can choke to death.
That's really good. That's really good.
Like it's not
For
quite
real,
so
though.
smart.
Well, also the eye is backwards, so that the light has to pass through the cells that are going to be processing it.
Yeah.
Whose idea was that?
Whereas the
A lot of the
squid
eye
eye,
is
which is
unusual
a
'cause it evolved
convergent
in water.
evolution,
Yeah.
is designed correctly. So maybe,
Interesting.
maybe this is actually proof that Cthulhu will rise from the depths because squid are just better.
They're pretty. they're pretty great. I don't know.
They
if
are.
they're
Octopi
better.
are
I mean,
than
have you seen an
squids.
octopus? Like
but an
they have
octopus
they
isn't
have like a
squid.
brain in each of their arms. I mean, I think that God is
They're
actually
literally
maybe part
called
cephalopod.
a brain foot.
But thank you for watching. We'll talk to you next time.
So we're watching.